The undisputed face of boxing, Gervonta "Tank" Davis, takes on a new challenge in rising star Frank "The Ghost" Martin and a battle of undefeateds for the 135-pound title. Power, skills, and boxing ability will be on full display. This is your boy JG. This is the Punch Report. Frank Martin, Tank Davis, breakdown.
You saw the intro, so you know why we're here. This is your boy JG. This is the Punch Report. Gervonta "Tank" Davis, Frank Martin. Let's get into the breakdown. Now, first and foremost, I thought about doing a much longer form video for this breakdown, but what I'm going to do is just break it into segments, because the reality of the situation is that Frank Martin definitely has the talent, skills, and ability to give Gervonta Davis legitimate trouble within the squared circle, if not pull off a gigantic upset. And I think this is just going to take a little longer than an 8-minute video can yield. So let's just get into the breakdown. Now, I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but I'll repeat myself. Frank "The Ghost" Martin is the type of fighter, he has a type of skill set that could put himself in a position to have high levels of success against Gervonta "Tank" Davis. I'm going to do a couple keys to victory for Frank Martin, and then a few for Gervonta "Tank" Davis, who we all know very, very well. And then we'll just work through this one video at a time. And you guys just offer your thoughts. How do you see the fight playing out? What are your thoughts on some of these aspects that I'm covering in this fight? This is a massive fight on a great card. PBC, Amazon Prime. Let's just start with Frank Martin. What do we know about Frank Martin? Extremely talented fighter. Trains under Derek James. Is signed by Errol Spence Jr.'s promotional company. Shout out to Errol Spence Jr. But he's a guy who has a slickness about him. Left-handed fighter as well. Good speed, great athleticism, and above average power. Not crazy power, but enough to where if you get cute, you'll get slept. So the first key to victory for me, when I think about Frank Martin, what's something he does so well, and I encourage you guys, I'm going to have the clips coming up right now, but take a look, go on YouTube or wherever, and watch some of these fights, because this is just a snippet of what you see if you take the time to watch the fights. But the first key to victory for one, my dog's running around crazy. For one, Frank Martin is his ability to get on and live on angles. And I think this is a good one to cover, because there are not a lot of fighters right now, or that I can think of, that Gervonta "Tank" Davis has fought that takes an opportunity to get on the angles the way he does. So let's take a look at some of the clips here. This is against Michel Rivera, which I think was a coming out party fight for Frank Martin, where I don't know what the odds were, so to speak, but I think Michel Rivera had a lot of momentum, was riding high, was almost considered a boogeyman at 135. Step up fight for Frank Martin. He did his thing, and then Michel Rivera tested dirty. So let's take a look here. In this clip, you're just going to see Frank Martin intelligently land a shot to the body and just move off to his right. And what that does is it puts Michel Rivera in a position where he needs to now make the adjustment to see if he can get anything back. But because of the angle that Frank Martin creates, he's unable to do so. Let's take a look at another clip right here. A little bit of the same. Let's take a look. Frank Martin getting work off to the body and just taking a subtle step to the right. And this one, you see him step around twice, very similar to Lomachenko. But at the end shot, you see the poor position that Michel Rivera is now in, because he has to accommodate for the angles that Frank Martin's taken. Again, you'll see him fire off a straight left hand, get on the angle, fire off a straight left hand again, putting Michel Rivera on the defensive and making it hard for him to get anything back. Let's take another look at that one. Left hand, angle, left hand, beautiful work by Frank Martin. But this is what I'm talking about. Take a moment to think about the fighters that Gervonta "Tank" Davis has fought, who do a good job of creating angles and complexities outside of just trying to stand and catch and shoot and bully him because he's an undersized guy. Frank Martin has legitimate boxing skill and ability with tremendous footwork. These angles will prove to be crucial for two reasons. Creating offensive opportunities, 1, 2, depending on which way he's flowing, and they're both left-handed fighters, it can put him in a position to avoid some of the damage that comes from, the left hand of Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Key to victory number 2 for one Frank Martin is going to be his ability to take advantage of your lazy jab. Now, Gervonta "Tank" Davis has a very underrated jab, very fast, very snappy, and it gets on you in a way that kind of surprises you a bit. But in the situation where you're trying to get cute, maybe you're feigning a little too much with your lead hand, Frank Martin has mastered the ability to follow the lazy jab back home and land significant shots, and even so much so as to take your jab away. We're going back to the Michel Rivera fight with Frank Martin. We're going to take a look at the clip right here, and what you're going to see is Frank Martin's going to manipulate that lead hand and then simultaneously follow it back home, land a 1-2. Let's look at that one more time. It'll be just a little slight delay here, but watch him manipulate the lead hand, 1-2 down the pipe. The way that he was closing the distance against Michel Rivera, it almost as if he didn't see it coming a lot of the times. If you go back and take a look, even if you watch a highlight of this fight, you will see this on repeat. Over and over again, Frank Martin manipulating that lead hand, taking the jab away, and following it home. This is one of the things you have to do to kind of limit the way that offense gets set up against a guy like Tank Davis, because if you let him kind of do what he wants to do, he's very patient. He has tremendous vision, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself. You can find yourself in a position where you're getting hit with heavy stuff that you might not see coming. Limiting the offense of Gervonta Tank Davis, who is a notoriously slow starter, would be a good starting point for Frank Martin. So just to recap quickly, 2 keys to victory, and there's much more to come, as I mentioned before, for Frank Martin. His ability to live on and create angles, he does it beautifully, and the ability to make opposition pay for lazy jabs with highly effective combination punching and work to the body. Moving over to Gervonta Tank Davis, we know so much about him. Power, speed, he can go to the body, inside fighting. He does a lot of things very well. First key to victory for Gervonta Tank Davis is something he does exceptionally well. That's his ability to counterpunch. Oftentimes when you see a guy who gets a lot of knockouts, we miss the nuance in the boxing skill, the application of the sport at the highest level. And I think that happens a lot with Gervonta Tank Davis, because you see dudes getting flatlined and knocked out and fall out the ropes and getting their head rocked back crazy. We fail to realize how he got himself, or the opposition, excuse me, in that position. Take a look here, oldie but goodie, Leo Santa Cruz. This is a classic highlight. But in this sequence, what kind of gets missed is he throws that right hand there multiple times. Gervonta Tank Davis, he throws that right hand initially multiple times. Intelligent defense, high guard, reading the situation, deploys a nasty counter uppercut. We've seen this one before time and time again, but this is just one of the examples of many of Tank Davis and his ability to land highly effective counter shots. Now, this is another one that we've seen. This is not the knockout shot, but if you take a look at the clip here, this is Gervonta Tank Davis versus Rolando Rolly Romero. You see Rolly just kind of lazy coming forward. Tank Davis managing distance, lands a beautiful counter left hand. Let's take a look at that one more time. Feints a shot forward, counter shot lands, and he's still managing the distance. Rolly with a wide stance, it was just not going to be his night. And last but not least, this is one of my favorite clips, Hector Luis Garcia against Gervonta Tank Davis. This is kind of a combo wombo deal. You're going to see the beautiful counterpunching along with kind of a catch and shoot format. Take a look at Tank Davis here. Roll, catch the shot, beautiful counter right hand, accurate. You'll see Hector Luis Garcia take one step back. Let's check that one out one more time. Beautiful work, feet are perfect, excuse me. Beautiful counter shot, corkscrews that back leg to ensure that that left hand lands clean and flush. This is just one of the keys to victory for Gervonta Tank Davis, his ability to land effective counter shots. One thing I would say about Frank Martin, he doesn't have the bad habit of overcommitting too much. But when the opportunities are there, you can believe that Tank Davis has a vision and know-how and application to get this done. Like I said before, much more to come on this fight. Let me know what your thoughts are. Other things you would like to see covered. This is your boy JG. This is the Punch Report. We out.